properly, you get strong and healthy, you don't get sick. You can drive out the disturbances, the shechi. Okay? So the purpose for doing the needling was to restore a state that doesn't allow these disturbances to happen and that allows you to live longer and healthier. That's the purpose of needling. So this kind of definition is the foundation for why the Suen describes why we have a medical system that is described in the Neijing. Because the Neijing begins with this idea of we have to have a therapy to correct people's disturbances because we no longer live to be old. We get sick easily and all the time. So we need a system to restore us back to this idealized healthy state where we don't get sick, where we can live longer. And that's where this concept of regulating the qi and so on comes from. But unfortunately, the language of doing this is very broad. And because it's very broad, it allows for diversity of different interpretations and practice methods. Those of you that saw my presentation this morning will recall that I was demonstrating and talking about needling techniques using tools that did not penetrate the skin. And I said, that is acupuncture. Okay? From its beginning, acupuncture included non-penetrating needling methods using round-ended tools that were pressing on the surface, and they were called acupuncture needles. Okay? Historically, it's always been like this. We've always had this huge diversity like this. And you don't really have to look very far to see this diversity. It's very obvious in modern systems of practice, and it's really obvious if you read the classics and you read in the historical texts. Many different competing ideas have coexisted in Asia. Okay? The historical texts have always had this. It's kind of a feature of traditional systems that you've got many different opinions. Okay? So we have to deal with this if we're going to start researching, because otherwise we can make the wrong kind of assumptions about what it is that we're researching, and therefore the wrong kind of assumptions about what kind of research techniques we should employ to research those things. So each system of practice has its own theory, its own diagnostic methods, its own diagnostic observations. It draws its own conclusions, labeled as patterns. The Bianzhong in TCM, the Shokate in Japanese meridian therapy, the CF in the Worsley system in the UK. They have different needling techniques, moxa techniques, they have different treatment principles, the point locations even vary. Prior to 1950, Long 7 was here. After the communists took over, Long 7 moved up over here, but in Japan it remained here.